the Hindu resurgence movement. Each one of us present here today, over the 3 days, the organizations, the groups, the businesses, universities, and media houses we have represented, they are all contributing to making the global Hindu society a formidable force to be reckoned with. We have been part of history in the making. We have witnessed the World Hindu Congress Declaration, which we have all agreed to. We have collectively agreed to making the Hindu movement, the Hindutva movement, a force of good, a force impacting effective positioning and strengthening of Hindus world over. The World Hindu Congress 2023 was made of 7 parallel conferences. It has been akin to 7 conferences of knowledge on Hindu resurgence that has been flowing, and we have all had the opportunity to immerse ourselves in it. For those that didn't make it to the discussions and presentations in person, today you would have the opportunity to interact with the 7 conferences. As much as we would have wanted to be in 2 places at a time, we weren't able to. So this morning, you will hear from all the 7 conference coordinators the highlights, the summaries, next steps, actionable points from all 7 conferences. There will also be an opportunity to ask questions of the 7 coordinators who will be up here. So just a bit of housekeeping for that purpose. We all know the exit is at the back of the room. If in case there is an emergency, we'll kindly walk out through any of the exits that are closely near to you. And for your conveniences, the bathroom's located at the back to the left of the hall. For the question and answer session, as we're aware, we're a massive audience here. We won't be able to, each of us, ask our questions. So we've got some volunteers around who have pieces of paper that you'd be able to write your questions and send it back to us here at the top, and then we will be able to present your questions to the conference coordinators. So if you have a question, please put your hand up and a volunteer would run a piece of paper to you. So this session here today will bring together the entire World Hindu Congress, the 7 conferences, the 2 days, and what has happened. To chair this session, I would like to invite Shri Dattatreya Hospolaji to join us on the stage. Shri Dattatreya Hospolaji is the General Secretary of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, an MA in English Literature. He has travelled widely abroad and is fluent in both English and Hindi. An effective orator, he is well-read and has a special interest in foreign affairs. He was at the helm of the Akhil Bhartiya Vidyarthi Parishad for 15 years. He is seen as a team builder and commands a strong following in the student community. He was the Sarkaryava with RSS before taking the new responsibility of Sarkaryava for Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Please welcome him with a round of applause. I'd like to now invite the 7 conference coordinators on this stage. Dr. Manoj Motwani ji for the World Hindu Economic Forum. Professor Nachiketa Tiwari ji for the Hindu Educational Conference. Shri Vikram Sharma for Hindu Media Conference. Sushri Rashmi Samant ji for Hindu Political Conference. Srimati Pritika Sharma ji for Hindu Women Conference. Shri Murali Krishna Magesan ji for Hindu Youth Conference, and Professor Guna Magesan ji for Hindu Organizations Conference. To get us started, the first conference that we'll be hearing from is the World Hindu Economic Forum, from Dr. Manoj Motwani ji. Manoj ji is a dynamic management consultant, business coach, and corporate service provider with extensive expertise in management and compliance. Starting from humble beginnings, he progressed to senior roles, including CFO and CEO of multinational corporations. He also served as an independent director in a public company and eventually founded his business. Beyond his community business commitments, Manoj Ji actively engages with non-profit organizations in Hong Kong, Bharat, and Italy, fostering business, education, and culture. In 2018, Manoj Ji was honored with the distinguished title of Knight of the Order of the Star of Italy. It is equivalent to the Padma Bhushan of Bharat by the President of Italian Republic. Please welcome Dr. Manoj Motwani Ji.
Namaste. Wonderful seeing you all for last 2 days. Now is the third day for us to, all the coordinators to report what happened in these conferences. So first, my opportunity to express, we had 6 sessions at the World Hindu Economic Forum conference in last 2 days. And here's the summary outcomes and the takeaway from each session. So this session 1 for agriculture, we explored advancement in agriculture technologies such as vertical farming, hydroponics, precision agriculture, and remote sensing for crop monitoring, recognizing the potential to enhance productivity and profitability. We discussed opportunities for trade and investment in agriculture, focusing on economic growth through exports and strategies for maximizing productivity in the global market, while supporting the small-holding farmers. The integration of biotechnology in scaling up frontier areas was also emphasized, as this revolutionizes crop breeding and addresses the food security challenges. Lastly, we recognize the role of innovation in agriculture production and supply chain, highlighting its ability to drive efficiency and improve the bottom line for farmers and agri-businesses. The takeaway from this conference for agriculture session: to use the modern technology to enhance the productivity, collaboration towards the knowledge for good agriculture practices, tracking natural resources and their degradation, maintain the soil nutrient for better productivity, and transform to modern methods of technologies. Session 2 of manufacturing, we reflected on the potential of the ASEAN-Bharat Alliance to establish an unparalleled production hub, revolutionizing global supply chains. We discussed how this collaboration is reaching new heights, fostering innovation and driving economic growth for regional prosperity. We delved into the growth opportunities in the manufacturing sector between Bharat and Thailand, revealing promising prospects for economic expansions. Finally, we explored Bharat's competitive edge in manufacturing and technology, highlighting its thriving sector, innovative strides, skilled workforce, favorable business climate, all contributing to Bharat's global prominence in the technology-driven industry. The takeaways from this session: to enhance investment in R&D, enhance the ease of doing business, bring about the faster legal reforms, and ASEAN-Bharat accelerated collaboration. Session 3 about funding. So we gain investor perspective on Bharat's funding landscape, understanding due diligence, investment criteria, and decision influencers. We navigated infrastructure financing, infra bond, and strategies for attracting investment in Bharat. Future trends in fundraising, financial innovation, impact investing, and sustainable models were discussed. Lastly, we delved into Bharat's capital market, mutual funds, and the success of systematic investment plans, all vital in funding Bharat's growth. The takeaway from this session: to curate your ideas to successful business plan through mentorship, bring in more options for funding, create sustainable business for green funding, and popularize various options for the startups. Session 4, we discuss about healthcare. Here we delve into the impact of medical technology advancements on healthcare and unique opportunities and challenges of medical device manufacturing in Bharat. We address the need of cost-effective health infrastructure in countries like Nepal and explore the strategies for enhancing healthcare accessibility. We have examined the synergy between medical tourism, Ayurveda, and Bharat, discussing its global impact. Lastly, we highlighted the transformative potential of doorstep healthcare services and the opportunities they present for equitable healthcare delivery. The takeaway from this session, to create healthcare facilities closer to the consumer for success. Policy reforms for enhancing Bharat as medtech production hub. Create the structure which can provide affordable healthcare and enhance the acceptability of traditional medicines through policy reforms for Ayurveda. Session 5, we spoke about the startups. We draw lessons from successful global startups ecosystems, exploring funding options and Bharat's startup landscape. We discuss incentivizing policies for investors and measures, hosting an investor-friendly environment. We explored methodologies for transforming startup ideas into scalable ventures, promoting sustainable growth, and finally we addressed the fintech revolution, its transformative power in the startup ecosystem, and the role in driving financial inclusion in the economic growth. The glory and growth of incredible India, incredible Bharat, in the last 1 decade, and the future pathway for country to become Vishwaguru of the world was very well articulated by Mohandas Pai yesterday. The takeaway from this session, the startup ideas must be well curated for the matured, compelling funding options. Think big ideas right from day one. Consistent scalability is the art of success. And hence, startup investor connect and more appetite for startup investment must be created. Session 6 of networking and breakout sessions. Very interesting numbers we saw here. Approximately 40% of WHO participants completed the survey which was sent by email to the participants indicating their specific networking interests. For the first time, we incorporated an additional networking format. We received 30 startup proposals, shortlisted 10, and presented them to the investors. We anticipate these discussions to progress towards successful outcomes. In another breakout for import-export and joint venture session, we facilitated 52 immediate connections for potential joint ventures. The conference was met with a high enthusiasm and interest. Given the high expectation from our delegates, we are committed to delivering more focused networking sessions in the future conferences. I would like to stress the importance of completing the WHO survey to help us understand delegates' needs and then tailor networking sessions accordingly. Before I leave, 2 slides for you to remember. This was the first slide I presented in the WHEF introductory remarks. Always remember, this is our goal to regain. This is second. Remember, the economic prosperity is not the end in itself, but a mean to nurture and sustain the various elements that together create a balanced and harmonious society. Share your surplus wealth with the one or other chakras of the spear. If we do not make them strong, we risk them losing again. So please remember, help all the different chakras of the spear. And remember, for the next few decades, we are not just the participants in the global economic growth. We are the drivers. Namaste.
Dhanyavad Manoj ji. Next up, we will hear from the Hindu Education Conference, and for that, we have the coordinator, Professor Nachiketa Tiwari ji. Professor Nachiketa Tiwari ji is the coordinator of the Hindu Education Board, World Association of Hindu Academicians, and Hindu Educational Conference. He is currently heading the Department of Design at IIT Kanpur. Professor Tiwari ji has steered the design and launch of MA in Hindu Studies and program at over 25 universities across Bharat. He's also participated in several implementation of policy documents on Bharat's higher educational system that he developed in Bharat's NEP. He serves on several national committees, including those related to NCERT, technical terminologies, and UGC. He also serves as the Visitors Nominee Selection Committee for 30 plus NITs. In the past, he has served as Visitors Nominee on BHU's Executive Council. Please welcome Professor Nachiketa Tiwari ji.
Next. Oh. No. Might be. Okay, so the Hindu Education Conference, as all other conferences, there were 6 sessions. The session themes were Hindu art, politics and ideology, because we have seen that over last several decades, and in some cases over last 200 plus years, a lot of Hindu art forms, dances, music, paintings, they are slowly becoming de-Hinduized. They are getting de-Hinduized. For instance, Kathak we today see only as, very strong influence of the Mughals. It has been mutilated, and the original shape of Kathak can be seen in very limited forms across the world. We are seeing same trends or similar trends in context of Bharatnatyam, Odissi, Kathakali, in contemporary times. There are very strong urges to Christianize those art forms and de-Hinduize these art forms. So there were highly acclaimed specialists in these art forms who are also scholars who came and talked about these and to raise the sensitivity bar on these things. So this is just the beginning of the conversation. And as we move forward, we will take this agenda item further and figure out approaches how these art forms can be re-Hinduized aggressively. The second theme was quality education in growing economies. Especially in context of Bharat, most of the education comes from the private sector. Regardless whether the institution is in the private sector or government sector, the quality of education is not at a level where we want. And we have done several surveys, talked to a lot of people, and also anecdotally, also through newspaper reports, you see employment indices which are very low. So this is a very significant challenge. Yesterday, Mohandas ji talked about that we are producing a very large number of graduates and so on and so forth. But if they are unemployable, then they are of not much use. So there was a strong discussion on quality education in growing economies. The third one was strengthening our knowledge traditions and languages. All of us are familiar with this challenge. Our languages are not being used to their fullest potential. Our knowledge traditions, our understanding of science, our understanding of sociology, our understanding of politics, our understanding of philosophy, in the academic world, they are on the margins. So how do you strengthen them in an organized way? There was a very serious series of discussions on this theme. The fourth one was Western academic theories, problems and biases. This was a highly technical session. We had 3 very super specialists from 3 different areas, from anthropology, from history, from political science, and sociology. And the theme of the discussion was that whenever I read a text, whether it's a historical document, a political document, or even a simple, translation of Ramcharitmanas, I can read the same text in 20 different ways. Recently, there was a big controversy on some lines from Ramcharitmanas that emanates from all these Western academic theories. So you have to understand these theories, and then you have to figure out fixes for these theories. So the discussion was on these lines. The fifth theme was on terminologies and narratives. How do you craft new terminologies which can influence the shape of narratives as we go forward? What is the role of, say, the Hindu perspective in the global context, and how does that Hindu perspective influence the narratives, or how it can influence, and so on and so forth. And the last session was portrayal of Hindu Dharma and traditional societies in media and academia. We are all familiar with this particular theme, but one thing which came out very explicitly is that the problem is not just related to portrayal of Hindu Dharma, it's about any traditional societies. We had a wonderful presentation by Professor Nitin Tripathi from Asian Institute of Technology, where he showed very clearly that the same problem exists: demonization, negative portrayal of Japanese culture, Shinto culture, culture of Korea, culture of Sri Lanka, culture of several other East Asian countries. They are not practicing Hindu Dharma as we understand in modern context, but they are also experiencing the same problems, and the perception of an average Japanese on how he or she views himself and his or her Japanese identity is almost on similar lines how, what we experience today. So this is not a conference for Japanese, but this was also an attempt to understand that the problem is larger, and maybe down the road there may be a need to build alliances and bridges with people from other traditional societies so that we attack this problem at a much larger level. With this overview, I want to move into the more important aspect going forward. And our approach for going forward is dictated by, I'll show you some quotation from Bankim Chand Chatterjee. He wrote a wonderful book, Mahabharat, in context of the modern times. So there he defines who are Babus. So I'll just read that small passage that will provide you a context, and then I'll explain what we plan to do. So he writes in that book, Mahabharat, it's not about the original Mahabharat as it is being played out in modern context. He says, the Babus would incarnate in 10 forms: clerk, teacher, Brahmo Samajist, broker, doctor, lawyer, judge, landlord, newspaper editor, and idler, जो काम धाम नहीं करता है. Like Vishnu, they would destroy fearsome demons. Now he explains. In his incarnation as a teacher, he would destroy the student as the station master, the ticketless traveler, as a Brahmo Samajist, the small priest, as broker, the English merchant, as doctor, his patient, as lawyer, his client, as judge, the litigant, as editor, the ordinary gentleman, as idler, the fish in the pond. This is the status of the society of Bharat, the anglicized society of Bharat in 1870 when he wrote these lines. The situation would have been, is probably even far more worse what exists today. Further read what he says, writes. Any person who has one word inside his mind, which becomes 10 when he speaks, 100 when he writes, and thousands when he quarrels, is a Babu. One whose strength is 1 time in his hands, 10 times in his mouth, 100 times in his back, and absent at the time of action is a Babu. He whose household deity is the Englishman, the preceptor, the Brahmo Samajist, scriptures, the newspapers, and place of pilgrimage, the National Theatre, Aajkal Picture Hall, is a Babu. One who gives himself out as a Christian to the missionaries, as a Brahmo to the Keshav Chandra, a Hindu to his father, and an atheist to the Brahman beggar is a Babu. This is the problem which existed 150 plus years back. Imagine how significantly this problem has grown. With this context, we would like to address 2 or 3 important problems. One is we will seriously take a very serious initiative to solve this problem of quality through launching of a program to significantly improve the quality of faculty members very rapidly, not 20-year time frame, in 3 or 4 years in at least one large state of Bharat. And if that works, then it could be other states could hopefully replicate that. That is one, it's an ambitious goal, but that is one thing we plan to do. We have spent a lot of time, put our heads together, and I think we have some understanding of how to address that problem. So this is the second one is we would like to strengthen our knowledge traditions and languages. We want to get rid of this Babu-ness which has creeped into all our psychologies, and we want to address this at a very fundamental level. Oh, sorry, this is... So in that context, the MA Hindu Studies program is already in place. People have started graduating from it. Now we want these students to enter into PhD programs, and eventually once they get PhDs, enter into universities and colleges, so we develop the human resource potential, in this context. The second one which we found as we waded into this area of Hindu studies is that there is absolute dearth of textbooks. So right now we have initiated, there are 6 or 7 students or scholars working in Kanpur. Hopefully starting from next year, we will start seeing out some textbooks coming out in this pipeline. The third one is creation of teachers. In that context, we have already done some training workshops, because when you teach new areas like Hindu studies, what do they teach, how they teach, and so on and so forth. So creation of teachers. So this is another thing.
I will have to do my job as chairman.
Huh. Surely, yeah. And the last one is expand the MA program to 50 universities. 30 more seconds, sir. Yeah.
Because I have 5 more.
Yes. Develop a critique of Western literary theories and provide alternatives to those and reshape the curriculum. Work together with Hindu Media Forum on terminologies and narratives, and establish Sanskrit, including the Shruti tradition, in some of the premium academic institutes. Thank you, and thank you, Dattaji.
Thank you so much, Professor Tiwari ji. Next, we have the Hindu Media Conference. I'd like to invite Shri Vikram Sharma ji to present about that. Shri Vikram Sharma ji is the editor of Hindu Post, a news and opinion digital media outlet that provides the correct perspective on issues concerning Hindu society. A former IT professional with 15 years of software industry experience in Bharat in USA. Vikram ji volunteered as a community organizer with other Swayamsevaks before the 2014 Lok Sabha elections. Later, he left his corporate job to dedicate himself to the Hindu civilizational cause by launching Hindu Post with Swami Vijnanand ji's blessing and guidance. Please welcome Shri Vikram Sharma ji.
Namaste. First off, I would like to thank all our speakers and delegates who helped make the Hindu Media Conference a success. So I'll quickly talk about the Hindu Media Forum, which is the organization which conducted the Hindu Media Conference. So Hindu Media Forum was formed in 2013 with a simple goal. It's a platform to advocate for Hindu and Hindu Dharma in media. How do we do that? 2 main attempts. Mobilize elements in the traditional as well as the emerging forms of media to ensure that the correct perspective on issues impacting Hindus is provided. Next, influence stakeholders in entertainment industry to correct the misrepresentation of Hindu culture and civilization. So till now we have conducted 3 Hindu media conferences, major conferences, this being the 3rd one, all during the World Hindu Congress. Networked with the media house owners, industry entertainment industry stalwarts, but there's a long way to go, and we need to collaborate, and we are not the only organization doing this. So we need to collaborate with all like-minded organizations, all the content creators, and we have an ecosystem that has come up in the last 5-6 years. So there's a lot we can do if we work together, and our mantra should be collaborate, disrupt, capture. A lot of the institutions which are today working against us have been funded with our own money. with taxpayer money. So we cannot give up on them. We have to take them back. So the goal is to move the Overton